I was particularly honored today to be collected at the airport by Bill Bigelow. He met me with a giant box of sugar-frosted flakes, a big one, which is my secret medicine against physical exhaustion. Alaska Airlines, the Republican National Committee, and all the other forces of wickedness and evil. I love it. Are there teachers here tonight? I mean, real classroom teachers? Oh, good. Raise your hand. Oh, good. Well, I'm glad, because I feel very, very close to teachers, especially the ones who work with little kids in elementary school. I have to admit, that's what I used to teach, and I have a special soft spot for teachers who work in those grades. I just think they do the best thing there is to do on earth, bring joy and beauty, mystery, and mischief to the hearts of little pint-sized people. And sometimes when I'm visiting a school, I get trapped in the principal's office. And a teacher sees me and just grabs me. She rescues me. It's usually a female, little kids. She grabs me by the arm and drags me off to her classroom. I love that. Then when we get there, she puts me on the spot and says, okay, teach something, do something. And I always ask the wrong kind of question because I sort of forgot how to do it. And I get all the kids jumping out of their seats, They're all waving their hands. And as every elementary school teacher knows, little kids, especially around the age of 6 or 7, usually have only a theoretical connection to their chair. They have this power to defy gravity, and they're all waving their hands at me, and typically there's one right in the front row, like a little girl who's just waving her hand right in my face, like though she can poke my eyes out, and she's saying, ooh, 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 she's gonna die if I don't call on her. And so I call on her, and she looks up at me with sweet bewilderment, and she says, what? She just wanted me to call on her. That was it. It's a humbling experience to go back and try to do the real thing. I sometimes think that every arrogant politician in our nation's capital, Mr. Bush especially, who talks so condescendingly about the failings of the classroom teachers in this nation, I'll be obliged to come into an inner city classroom once a year and teach a class and find out what it's like, because it's ultra easy to do that. Mr. Bush accuses teachers in our urban schools of harboring, quote, low expectations for our students. And he says, instead, we should strive for excellence. As though we all really came into this career because we were genetically predisposed to mediocrity. Excellence. Wow. Thank you, Mr. President. What an idea. And, and if we can't pump the scores enough to please his accountability technicians, then he says we are guilty of soft bigotry. Have you heard him say that? Soft bigotry. He says that a lot. Soft bigotry of low expectations. It's like once he finds a phrase he can pronounce, he keeps repeating it. And the president says that testing is the answer to our problems. And in many urban schools, as a result, high-stakes testing starts in first grade, if not earlier. NCLB requires third grade.
And in New York, for example, New York City third grade if you don't pass your high-stakes test, you can't be promoted. It's very important. Many districts start even earlier now, as early as first grade, in order to use it as a way to filter off the gifted and talented, right? Which is the first step in a long stage of internal tracking that ends up with predominantly white AP classes. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. And I mean, in some districts in California, they've started high-stakes tests in kindergarten, and one principal said, if this is what Washington's demanding, we got to get them ready. And these are bubble tests. These are not like nice diagnostic tests. How many of you have ever heard of the E-class? Oh, there's like 3 real elementary school teachers here. How about the rest of you? E-class is a diagnostic test. I didn't mean to tease anybody. Man, I was just showing off because I'd heard of it. And I'd actually helped do it once. And, you know, they're not giving the kids tests like that where the teacher keeps a running record and draws conclusions which are useful. No. These are bubble tests. They're giving in several districts, overwhelmingly minority districts naturally in California, in the first month of school, September of kindergarten. And the little kids who are very poor in these districts, they don't yet know how to hold a pencil. And many of them don't even know that print goes from left to right. And the teacher can't help them. And they have to fill in these little bubbles like on the SAT answer form. Isn't that amazing? And the little children pee in their pants. And the principal of one of these schools is so anxious that his scores won't look good. Kindergarten. He's so worried that the kindergarten scores won't look good that he's like canceled recess and nap time to have extra 20 minutes to drill these kids for their tests. Who's thinking up things like this? I sometimes think there's like a little room in Washington, maybe like in the basement of the Heritage Foundation, where basically miserable people, sociopaths, spend their days, devising ways to make life miserable for little children. If at least you gave these little kids terrific pre-K education, they'd have some chance of surviving these exams. But this is not the case in most of the United States. I started this book tour 2 weeks ago in Washington. We launched the book, The Children's Defense Fund. My beloved friend Marian Wright Edelman introduced the book to the public. And Marian told me that the percentage of poor children in America who get Head Start now is at its lowest level in many, many years. Since during the Bush administration, the percentage of eligible children has dropped below 50%. But that's not the worst of it. In most of the really poor neighborhoods I visit, it's a much lower number. It's a far lower number. And you know how you find out? You don't need to go to some data bank. All you have to do is like go into kindergarten and squeeze yourself into one of those little teeny weeny chairs and ask the kids, what did you do last year?